So we all had this great philosophy, and we would sit around eating our lunch or our dinner, and we talk about when we plan to be enlightened. I think 4 years. No, I'll take 6. I mean, we were so clueless about anything. We were these new kids on the block, just wanted it right now.
It is a great and wonderful mystery to all of us that anything is or that we are. And whether somebody says, I don't know how anything came to be, or God made everything, they are simply pointing to the feeling of the mystery of how everything is, but nobody knows what it really is or how it came to be.
And to judge or compete in spirituality, you have to be really almost a fool to do that. But we do it. We do it in life. We do it in every aspect because that's what we've been conditioned to do, to compete, to be better, and to even die better, you might say. I lived for quite a while in a zendo where we meditated for hours and hours and hours in Hawaii. And the whole point of the meditation is like 7 hours a day so that we could come into what we call kensho, which is shunya. But in Japanese, it's kensho. And when the Roshi, who is the highest order of the Zen Buddhism, would come from Japan to have these 12 days sessions where you just meditate 11, 12 hours a day, sleep very little, eat very little, so you could reach this kensho. And in order to reach kensho, to know you have reached it, you had to show your kensho. And it sounds kind of strange, but if you've ever studied Zen, like what is the sound of one hand clapping? That's Zen. And if you can show that, say that, or be that, then you've reached that highest state according to them. And so he would come and we'd go in one by one. We go in with him, and it was to show our kensho. And I never could show my kensho because I didn't know exactly what he was talking about. And I was meditating my brains out, trying to get to this kensho, trying to get somewhere. And I was getting nowhere, except more confused and more frustrated, and actually more competitive. It was very, very few people that ever had kensho. I think there maybe was one in all the years at the Zendo that people recalled. But the year I was having, 1 year that I was there, that we were doing this sashim, this long, long meditation, my friend from the coast, from California, was there with me. And she actually had kensho. And I remember she went in and she came out, and it was a big deal if you had kensho. I mean, it was like a big award-winning situation. And there she was in kensho. But what was kensho? I didn't even know. She didn't look any different, but she acted differently. And so I decided, after the Roshi left, the high priestess left, I decided I'd just follow her around and figure out what it was, and maybe through her I would get this kensho. And so I followed her. I followed her everywhere, and she didn't sleep at all. And she was going through the gardens and the bamboo forests and everything, just like a madwoman almost. And she would say to me, if you could only see what I see now. And I go, I was angst, because how could I had meditated as many hours as she had, and yet she had kensho and I did not have kensho, and that was not fair. But I was like 24 years old, and little did I know. And so the Roshi told her this: you would have the experience, maybe it's the Kundalini rising, the experience of the oneness, but it would not last. That's what he told her. And he gave her some Zen books to read, because she would come down. And come down she did. She crashed. And a really bad trip. She crashed because she didn't believe she'd ever come down. She was convinced she would have that experience forever. And so some time went by, And she went back to the mainland where she lived with her family in a Big Sur, Carmel Valley area, mid-California. And I was still at the Zendo, and then I decided to also go back to the mainland. And so I went to find her, and I went to her family's home, and I said, "Where is Dea?" And they said, "She's down at the river." So I'm thinking she's at the river, still in this enlightened state, just, like a Zen Buddhist meditating at the river. Well, I got there, and it was really, really sad. She had gained a lot of weight. She was sitting there eating, maybe you don't even know what it is, bologna sandwiches on white bread. Do you know what bologna is? It's lunch meat. I mean, gross. If you're going to talk about gross meat, that's gross meat. It's all the stuff stuck into this thing and then sliced. It's like worse than sausages. And there she was, and white bread. We didn't eat white bread. White bread was like junk food. She was literally sitting there eating junk food, so depressed, so nowhere. And that was a real big story for me. I wanted so much enlightenment. I would give my life for enlightenment. It was the most important thing in my whole life, beyond material, beyond relationships, beyond my body, beyond anything. I wanted enlightenment. And then I watched someone who had experienced it and how they couldn't maintain it. At the time when we learn lessons, we don't know the lessons we're learning right then. But there are lessons in every single thing. There's no experience in your life that does not have a lesson. But oftentimes you don't know it at the time, so it comes back over and over and over again until bingo, wow. So it was years later, and I was in contact with her, and she stayed very depressed. And she gained weight, which is sometimes a sign that there's something imbalanced in your psyche. And I said, "Come to Tucson, Arizona. I'm in an ashram, and I'm doing Kundalini Yoga, and maybe you would like it." And she came for a period of time, but she never got out of that dark hole. And I don't know what happened to her. She very well could not be alive, because she had had that ultimate experience, couldn't maintain it, and didn't know what to do. And so there's so many people that I run into now. In fact, there were 2 in Berlin that came to me in the Khalsa Way and then another general class saying, "I've raised my Kundalini and I'm feeling this vibrant energy and I can't sleep at night and everything." I said, "No, you did not raise your Kundalini. You just have an imbalance in your brain right now. Don't blame things on Kundalini. Kundalini is getting such a bad rap, not our yoga, but the word Kundalini. Everybody's saying, I'm feeling my Kundalini. I'm raising my Kundalini." I mean, it's like, come on, get over it, man. If you didn't know that word, what would you say? You'd go to a psychiatrist, probably. So the poor Kundalini, the uncoiling, this beautiful serpent who gives us the energy to have oneness, and then we blame everything that happens on, "It's the Kundalini." And this one lady comes up, and she was darling, but she says, "I think my Kundalini is stuck in my neck." And I said, "No, you just have calcification in your neck. You can't turn it. You never do head turns. You never do neck turns." And so I gave her a meditation, which included what we did yesterday, 108 meditations. By the second day, she said, "I feel so much better." I said, that was it. It was just blocked energy. Don't blame it on Kundalini. And then people come, and I know what they're going to do. "I have this heat in the base of my spine." I mean, it's like, it's just becoming too much now, And everybody wants something, and they think they're getting it, but they aren't willing to work for it. And if you really study the ancient ones, unless they worked 8.4 million lifetimes and come back in that state of all-knowingness like Christ or Buddha, we're back here working it out again and again and again and again. But the way to work it out is with joy. If you work it out in angst, if you work it out like I did those years, I want enlightenment. I want it now. I should have just gone shopping, you know, or become addicted to something else. My addiction was enlightenment. And then I found Yogi Bhajan. And so before I met him, the first 3 months, he wasn't at the ashram. He was based in LA at the time. And he sent out satellite teachers, and one of them went to Tucson, Arizona. And again, we were so stuck on being enlightened. I mean, we were all between 16 and 26. I was the oldest one there was. I was old. I was 26. So we all had this great philosophy. And we would sit around eating our lunch or our dinner, and we talk about when we plan to be enlightened. I think 4 years. No, I'll take 6. I mean, we were so clueless about anything. We were these new kids on the block, just wanted it right now.